Welcome to my channel. Value Old Coins Today videos is one you won't to miss. We're diving into the world of coins, so let's get it started. The 1965 Washington quarter, minted by the United States Mint, stands as a notable transitional coin that marked the beginning of a new era in American coinage. Bearing the standard obverse portrait of George Washington and the traditional reverse featuring an eagle, this quarter is one of the most widely circulated coins in U.S. history. However, beyond its common appearance lies a deep and fascinating story of economic necessity, innovation, and evolution in American monetary history. In the early 1960s, the United States faced a serious coin shortage. The rise in the price of silver, coupled with increasing demand for coinage due to post-war economic expansion and a growing population, created conditions where silver coins were being hoarded and melted down. At that time, dimes, quarters, and half dollars were composed of 90% silver and 10% copper. However, by the mid-1960s, the market price of silver had risen to such an extent that the intrinsic metal value of these coins exceeded their face value, prompting citizens and investors to remove them from circulation for their melt value. The U.S. government realized that continuing to produce coins with silver content was economically unsustainable. Thus, in 1965, Congress passed the Coinage Act of 1965, which authorized the removal of silver from dimes and quarters entirely, replacing it with a copper-nickel-clad composition. This legislative act marked a significant turning point in American numismatics and economic policy. The obverse front of the 1965 quarter features the iconic bust of George Washington, designed by John Flanagan in 1932. To commemorate the 200th anniversary of Washington's birth, the portrait has remained largely unchanged for decades and is one of the most recognized symbols of American currency. Above Washington's head is the word liberty, a foundational value of the United States. To the left of the portrait is the national motto, "In God We Trust." And below the portrait is the date, 1965. The lack of a mint mark on the 1965 quarter is a notable feature. During this year, all quarters were produced at the Philadelphia Mint, which did not use a mint mark at the time. The reverse backside of the coin displays an American bald eagle with outstretched wings, perched on a bundle of arrows, strength and readiness to defend the nation. Below the eagle is an olive branch, symbolizing peace. The inscriptions on the reverse read United States of America across the top, and beneath that, the Latin motto, E pluribus, unum, meaning out of many, one. At the bottom of the coin is the denomination, quarter dollar. Composition and physical characteristics. The 1965 Washington quarter was the first of its kind to be made with a copper-nickel-clad composition. Its specifications are as follows. Outer layers, 75% copper and 25% nickel core. Pure copper diameter, 24.3 millimeters, 0.955 inches. Thickness, 1.75 ohm. Weight, 5.67 grams. Reeded, 119 reeds. This clad composition was chosen for its durability, resistance to tarnish, and similar color to the previous silver coins, which helped maintain public confidence during the transition. In 1965, the U.S. Mint temporarily suspended the use of mint marks in an effort to discourage coin hoarding. Thus, even though quarters were produced in both the Philadelphia and Denver facilities, no coins bore a mint mark. Only in 1968 did the Mint resume placing mint marks on coins. Because of the urgent need for coins, the Mint produced huge quantities of 1965 quarters, over 1.8 billion in total. These were rapidly distributed into circulation to alleviate the national coin shortage. Due to their mass production, most 1965 quarters exhibit signs of wear and are common in circulated grades. However, a small number were struck on leftover 90% silver planchettes from 1964, creating a rare error coin known as the 1965 silver quarter. Highly sought-after collectible today. In typical circulated condition, the 1965 quarter has little premium over face value due to its high mintage and commonality. However, in uncirculated condition, especially in high mint state grades MS65 and above, coins can be worth a few dollars to over $100, depending on eye appeal, strike quality, and luster. Of particular interest are the special mint set SMS 1965 quarters. Because proof sets were not produced in 1965, 1967, the Mint instead released SMS sets with higher quality coins intended for collectors. These coins feature sharper strikes, smoother surfaces, and satiny finishes. Some rare examples of SMS coins show cameo or deep cameo contrasts, where the design appears frosted against a mirror-like field. These can command significant premiums at auction, especially in high grades certified by professional grading services such as PCGS or NGC. Another key variety to look for is the 1965 silver planchette error. A very small number of quarters were accidentally struck on leftover 1964 silver blanks. These era coins weigh approximately 6.25 grams, compared to 5.67 grams for clad, and have a distinct silver ring when dropped. They are very rare and can be worth several hundreds to thousands of dollars, depending on condition. Cultural and numismatic importance. The 1965 Washington quarter is not just a coin, it is a symbol of a changing America. It represents the move from traditional silver coinage to modern clad compositions and stands at the crossroads of old and new. It also reflects a time when the government had to act decisively to maintain the integrity and availability of its coinage system. For collectors and historians alike, the 1965 quarter is a tangible artifact of 20th century economic policy and industrial innovation. Its immense mintage means that nearly every American born in the latter half of the 20th century has encountered one. For many, it was the first coin given as change, the first coin inserted into a vending machine, or perhaps the first coin placed in a piggy bank. That universality adds to its sentimental and historical value. If you are collecting 1965 quarters, look for high-grade mint state examples, especially from SMS sets. Coins with full detail, clean surfaces, and no contact marks are the most desirable. Also, be on the lookout for the rare silver planchette errors. Weigh your coin carefully, and if you suspect you have one, have it authenticated by a grading service. Beware of artificially altered coins. Some individuals attempt to plate clad quarters to look like silver, or may file down edges to mimic silver reading. Always purchase from reputable dealers if you're investing in rare varieties. The 1965 Washington quarter is a cornerstone of modern American coinage. While it may seem common at first glance, its background reveals a rich tapestry of economic policy, material science, and cultural transition. From the switch from silver to clad, to the hidden treasures of SMS strikes and silver planchette errors, this coin invites curiosity, education, and collecting passion. Whether you're a seasoned numismatist or a beginner examining your change, the 1965 quarter offers a rewarding glimpse into the heart of America's monetary evolution. The 1966 Washington quarter is an important coin in U.S. numismatic history due to its transitional position, following a major shift in the composition of American coinage. It belongs to the Washington Quarter series, which began in 1932 to commemorate the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth. The obverse of the 1966 quarter features a left-facing portrait of George Washington, the first President of the United States, designed by John Flanagan. The inscription Liberty is boldly displayed above Washington's head, while the phrase "In God We Trust" appears to the left of his profile. The date 1966 is positioned just below the bust. And notably, there is no mint mark present on quarters from this year due to changes in the mint's policies in the mid-1960s. The reverse of the coin features a powerful image of an eagle with outstretched wings, perched on a bundle of arrows, symbolizing strength and readiness to defend the nation. Beneath the arrows lies an olive branch, a traditional emblem of peace. Surrounding the eagle are the inscriptions United States of America at the top and quarter dollar at the bottom. Just above the eagle's head, the Latin motto E pluribus unum, out of many, one appears, signifying the union of the original 13 colonies into one nation. One of the most important things to note about the 1966 Washington quarter is that it is made of clad composition, part of a major change in the U.S. monetary system. Up until 1964, quarters were made of 90% silver and 10% copper, which gave them intrinsic metal value. However, due to rising silver prices and hoarding, the U.S. Mint ceased production of silver coins for general circulation after 1964. 1965 to 1967 quarters were produced with a new copper-nickel clad composition. Specifically, the 1966 quarter is composed of an outer layer of 75% copper and 25% nickel bonded to a core that is pure copper. This resulted in a coin with a total weight of 5.67 grams, a diameter of 24.3 millimeters, and a reeded edge, the ridged design that helps prevent coin shaving and counterfeiting. Due to a coin shortage during the 1960s caused by widespread hoarding, the mint took several emergency actions. Not only was silver removed from circulating quarters, but during the years 1965 to 1967, coins were produced without mint marks to discourage the collecting of coins by year and mint. In addition, these coins were often made in very large numbers, and were not sold in standard mint sets. Instead, the mint issued special mint sets (SMS) in these years for collectors, which were different from proof sets and featured specially struck coins with a semi-proof-like finish. The SMS 1966 quarter exhibits better strike quality and shinier surfaces than the standard business strikes, making them distinguishable to collectors. In terms of mintage, the 1966 quarter saw an extremely high production number, with over 821,101,500 coins minted, reflecting the mint's effort to meet public demand. Because of this large quantity, the 1966 Washington quarter is not considered rare in circulated condition. Most 1966 quarters found in circulation today are worth only face value, or slightly more, in very fine condition. However, well-preserved, uncirculated examples, particularly those from special mint sets, can command higher prices, especially in higher grades like MS66 or above. The SMS versions, when graded as SP67 or SP68, may be worth several dollars. In coins with cameo or deep cameo contrast, frosted devices and mirrored fields are particularly valued. Another noteworthy aspect of the 1966 quarter is its place within a broader historical context. This was the era of the Coinage Act of 1965, signed by President Lyndon B. Johnson, which authorized the change in coin composition. The move was not universally popular, as many Americans preferred the heavier, shinier silver coins. Nonetheless, the introduction of clad coins marked a significant technological and economic shift, one that allowed the mint to continue producing coins efficiently while reducing costs. From a numismatic perspective, collectors often seek varieties or errors, though the 1966 quarter is relatively stable in terms of design consistency. However, there are some minor errors and anomalies such as die cracks, double die obverses, and clipped planchettes which can increase value for certain pieces. Coins struck off-center or with other dramatic mint errors are highly sought after and can fetch premium prices depending on the severity and clarity of the error. In grading, the 1966 quarter follows the standard Sheldon scale from Poor 1P1 up to Mint State 70 MS70, while circulated examples typically range from fine F12 to extremely fine EF40. Uncirculated examples range from MS60 to MS67, and the special mint set coins are graded as SP specimen coins, typically from SP60 to SP68. The highest grade SMS coins, especially those with deep cameo DC-AM contrast, are relatively scarce and carry strong demand in the marketplace. In conclusion, the 1966 Washington quarter serves as both a numismatic artifact and a symbol of economic transition in the United States. While not a rare or precious coin in everyday condition, it is a tangible reminder of a pivotal moment when America's coinage moved away from silver and embraced modern production materials. Its large mintage, lack of mint mark, and place within the short-lived SMS production period make it a fascinating study for collectors and historians alike. Whether part of a complete Washington quarter series or valued individually for its historical significance, the 1966 quarter remains a staple of American coinage that continues to spark interest more than half a century later. The 1979 Washington quarter, a continuation of the long-running quarter dollar series, stands as a snapshot of America at the close of a turbulent decade. The 1970s were marked by inflation, economic malaise, Cold War tensions, and shifting national attitudes, yet within all this flux, the nation's circulating coinage remained outwardly stable. The 1979 quarter, produced in massive numbers for commerce, may seem ordinary at a glance, but beneath its simple copper-nickel facade lies a multifaceted story of fiscal pragmatism, technological evolution, and American identity. The coin maintained its classic design, but its era and production details offer collectors subtle yet significant insights. By the late 1970s, the U.S. was still reeling from economic challenges brought on by the energy crisis, rising inflation, and stagflation, a period when inflation and unemployment rose simultaneously, creating unique challenges for both policymakers and the American public. In such an environment, the U.S. Mint had to prioritize practicality over tradition. Precious metals were long gone from circulating coinage. The days of 90% silver quarters had ended with the Coinage Act of 1965, and since then the quarter dollar had been struck and copper-nickel clad over a copper core. The American economy, in 1979, was also dealing with another surge in inflation. Consumer prices rose sharply that year. Despite the changing value of money, coins had to remain functional and cheap to produce. The quarter had thus firmly settled into its clad metal format, an emblem of both modernity and necessity. That year, President Jimmy Carter was leading the country through a time of economic uncertainty, with the nation preparing for a new decade that would soon bring technological innovation and renewed confidence in its systems. The obverse front of the 1979 Washington quarter preserves the classic portrait of George Washington. Facing left, a design created by John Flanagan in 1932 for the bicentennial of Washington's birth. This design had already been in use for nearly 50 years by 1979, and had become one of the most familiar depictions in American pocket change. Washington is shown in a dignified pose, his face exuding confidence and leadership. Above his head appears the word liberty, a foundational value of the American Republic. On the lower left of his bust is the national motto, "In God We Trust," a phrase that reflects the nation's historical embrace of spiritual faith as a guiding Principle. Beneath the bust is the 4-digit date, 1979, centered and clearly visible. Depending on the mint location, the coin may bear a mint mark just to the right of Washington's ponytail. Mint marks in 1979 include no mint mark for Philadelphia, D for Denver, S for San Francisco, only on proof coins. Each mint had a different role in supplying coins for the nation, and their production totals varied in scope and scale. The reverse back of the coin features a proud and resolute American bald eagle, another work of John Flanagan's artistic vision. The eagle sits perched on a bundle of arrows, representing strength, vigilance, and military preparedness. Beneath the eagle is a laurel wreath, or olive branches, an age-old symbol of peace and victory. The message is clear. The United States seeks peace but is ready to defend its values when necessary. Encircling the top of the coin is the bold inscription, United States of America, and directly beneath it is the national motto, E pluribus unum, Latin for out of many, one, a reference to unity among the diverse states and peoples of the nation. The denomination $quarter appears at the bottom of the coin, clarifying the coin's value. Though this reverse had been in use since 1932, it retained its strength and appeal even in the age of modern minting technology. The eagle design would remain until 1929, when the state quarters program would eventually replace it. The 1979 quarter was composed of copper nickel clad, which had been standard since 1965. The materials were selected for cost-effectiveness and durability, particularly in the face of a growing economy that needed millions of coins daily. Outer layers, 75% copper and 25% nickel. Pure copperweight, 5.67 grams diameter, 24.26 in thickness, 1.75 mh. Reeded 119 reeds. This clad construction gave the coin a silver-like color, but none of the intrinsic value. It also helped withstand wear and tear from mass circulation. The U.S. Mint produced enormous quantities of quarters in 1979 to meet the needs of commerce. Each mint facility played a part. Philadelphia, no mint mark, approx. 515 million coins. Denver, DHA, approx. 489 million coins. San Francisco, S, approx. 3.6 million proof-only coins. These figures reflect the mint's continued focus on quantity over complexity during a time of economic constraint. The San Francisco facility only struck proof coins in 1979. These were not released into circulation, but rather sold in collector sets with mirror finishes and frosted devices. The 1979 S proof quarters are noteworthy because two different mint mark styles were used. 1. Type 1 filled S. The S mint mark appears blurry, filled, or blob dash-like dot. 2. Type 2 clear S. The S mint mark is sharp, clear, and well-defined. The Type 2 is scarcer and, thus, more desirable to collectors. These distinctions matter significantly to those pursuing high-quality proof sets or individual coins for registry collections. While the 1979 quarter lacks major design variations, several era coins and die varieties have surfaced. Off-center strikes, where the coin design is visibly shifted from the center. Clipped planchettes, where a portion of the coin is missing due to a faulty blank. Double dies, rare in 1979 quarters, but some examples exist with mild doubling in letters or digits. Struck on wrong planchette, an error, where a quarter is struck on a blank intended for a dime or foreign coin. These are rare and extremely valuable. Such errors are uncommon but fascinating, and they can add significant value when authenticated by grading services like PCGS or NGC. Most 1979 quarters found in circulation today are worn, scratched, and worth only face value 25 cents. This is because of their massive mintage and the lack of precious metal content. However, uncirculated coins, especially those with full original luster and minimal marks, can be worth $1 to $10 depending on grade. MS66 and MS67 examples, especially those with a full strike sharp details on Washington's hair and eagle feathers, can reach $50, $150 or more in auctions. Proof Type 2 coins from San Francisco, in deep cameo finish, can be worth $30, $75 or more, depending on grade and certification. Although not a rare coin by any means, the 1979 Washington Quarter remains significant to American collectors. It's part of the long-running Washington Quarter series that spanned from 1932 to 1998, making it a vital piece in completing full daytime mint collections. The coin represents the late 20th century shift toward mass production, industrial minting, and cost-effective circulation coinage. It also predates the commemorative revolution of the late 1990s and 2000s, where each state would soon have its own quarter design. Thus, the 1979 quarter is one of the last few classic quarters before modern designs began to take hold. To a collector, it represents stability and tradition, a coin that did not change much for decades, making its era one of visual consistency in pocket change. Yet its minute differences, mint marks, proof types, and rare errors offer just enough excitement for those who study them closely. In conclusion, the 1979 Washington quarter is a reflection of its time, economically practical, politically steady, and artistically conservative. It maintained the mint's dedication to reliable coinage, while silently embodying a nation transitioning toward a more modern and efficient monetary system. Though it is common in circulation, its special mint proofs, Type 1 and Type 2 mint mark varieties, and rare errors add depth and dimension to its collectability. From a historical lens, the 1979 quarter represents the end of an era, just before the radical coinage changes of the 1990s and early 2000s. For many Americans, it was just another coin in their pocket. But for collectors, it offers a chance to explore the complex interplay of economics, tradition, and change that define American numismatics.